Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I thought this website store would be a good place to start out this video, because this website store is not even a year old. It was founded in 2023 to give Kabam more ability to make money. And I assume what I believe and so many other people believe is true, that they have essentially made this store to sustain their company and to sustain this game, because they don't have to pay a huge cut of the percent of sales to Apple or Google Play. They cut out the middleman. They do what Fortnite did, which then got them sued, which then they countersued and ultimately came out on top. Their antitrust monopoly lawsuit paved the way for companies like Kabam to have their own website. And make no mistake about it, this is part of the pitch to the investors of this company. Look, we've got this great successful game that's been around for almost a decade now. We've got more ways to get people's cash than ever before. And this is especially an important thing to show, because when it comes to early access bundles, and I'm particularly talking about Valiant players' early access bundles, this stays on this website for over, I think, twice as long as the Kabam in-game store does. The Kabam in-game store does for about 48 hours. This one stays on for, I think, about 5 days. On top of that, let me remind you all, as we continue to discuss this, that the most money you can spend that Kabam is actually even giving you a chance to spend, and yes, there isn't a limit to it, is $100 in the in-game store itself. Kabam is going to give you a chance to get the Allfather Odin's Vault for 3,100 units for $100. Of course, this is what we've known about since the game started. Same amount of units, same value as was the case when I started playing this game, again, about 8 years ago. But not on the website. On the website, you get to spend $200 for Namor's Sunken Riches, and that is for over 7,000 units. And just like I said before, there's no limit to this. And this replaces the best value space of the Allfather Odin's Vault. But even that gives you more units, 310 more units. Essentially a bonus greater banquet crystal or featured paragon crystal worth of units for going through the website. Kabam wants us to spend more money than we have ever spent on this game in 2024. And yet the reason why Kabam Mike is suddenly having to backtrack and literally lie to us about the words he used in a forum post regarding the inevitable nerf of Hercules, he used the word yet. Imagine you are dating someone, okay? This is the best analogy I can use. Imagine you're dating someone and they think that you're in a tough spot and you've got the leverage, because I learned in business school when I was taking some business school classes while getting my master's degree that there's something called the power of least interest, meaning if you're in a relationship, the person who has the least interest has the most power. The same can be true when you buy something from a company. You are a consumer that has the power. The reason why people say the customer is always right is because the customer always has power. I don't believe the customer is always right, to be fair, but that's what some businesses will say, because they want you to believe that that consumer has so much spending power that they control the narrative. Well, we're the consumers in this game. We control the narrative. Kabam expects us to spend more money than ever before this year, because this is the first year that we've had this website store for an entire calendar year. And yet, if you nerf Hercules, after repeatedly saying you would not touch him because he was not part of the rebalancing program, which he and Kitty Pryde and KT1 did a fantastic job of showing this in an interview with a Kabam employee, got them to admit, yeah, had that rebalancing program been in place, both Kitty Pryde and Hercules would have been nerfed to some degree. But because it wasn't in place, we can't nerf them. Well, now we're actually going to say, in a moment of gaslighting emotion, that maybe that's back on the table. You're also giving Valiant players, specifically, going back to the start of this video, more incentive to spend money than ever before. Valiant Early access bundles are $100 a pop, and you can buy 4 of them. 2 on the website and 2 in the in-game center. That gives you a guaranteed new 6-star early access featured champ. That's SIG 60 for $400 plus taxes plus the conversion rates of whatever you spend depending on what country you live in. That can happen twice a month. So that can give Kabam an extra $800 max plus the taxes and everything else revenue that didn't exist this year. But here's my question. If you know that a champion, even 3 years down the road, that doesn't get messed with in the balancing program, can still be nerfed, why should you spend a penny? What protection do you have as a consumer to know that your product that you're promised is not going to have its quality depleted over time, especially in a game that is literally built to deplete the best part of that champion's utility over time through nodes and other new champion counters already? What purchase protection do you have? And oh, by the way, need I not mention, if you get screwed over by a purchase in this game and you ask Apple or Google Play to give you a refund, and they're really good about doing that on their end, you're going to immediately go into negative unit jail, and you're either going to lose your account or you're going to have to spend the money that you got refunded to you, and maybe then some, to get out of it. This is the crisis moment that we've been waiting for Kabam to get their act together. Kabam Mike surely had some people at the company reach out to him and say, hey, you cannot say this publicly because your statements could literally cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars of expenses over the course of a year. And once we lose the players' trust, they could go to another game and we could never get that spending back. And then as a company, we're screwed. We're going to be the ones laying off 70% of our staff. And we know Kabam's already laid off a lot of employees in the past couple years. So, Kabam, my question to you is simple. What promise do you have to give us after the fiasco that was Kabam Mike's, not only his forum post, and I'm not going to go back and read the words because I've already done that in past videos, but also his tweets that not only doubled and tripled down on his ineffective leadership, but also got him to the point where I've had several people say to me, I've never had less confidence in my purchases to stay what I think they are than right now. Not even during the Mole Man situation with his nerf or the Baron Zemo situation or others. Those were all kind of unique experiences. Hercules is literally the game to so many people. If you missed my last video, that includes free-to-play players. We have never had as a community less confidence in the purchase power. Kabam's got to build that trust back, and they can't burn us. I have real, non-exaggerated, non-clickbait, emotional trust issues in real life because of this game. And I've told many a counselor, you're asking me about my trust issues. You think I'm going to talk about my parents. You think I'm going to talk about my exes. No. Let me tell you about a company called Kabam. And then I walk them through this. And a lot of times, you know what they say to me? How is that legal? I say, excellent question. I have no idea. But that's what's going on. This is an abusive financial relationship that needs to be remedied. And until it is remedied in a way that gives us confidence, we have no reason to think that the money we spend on this game is not going to be diluted by a nerf or even a promise not to nerf that they're just going to ignore and go back on like they have Hercules seemingly this weekend. That's the point of this video. That's the rant. Thanks for watching.